All right, it's Buddy. I'm back on the bench again. And we have Derek here with us for Chumley's Restaurant. And Derek, thank you for coming out.
Marcus.
Marcus, I'm sorry.
My
I don't know
last
why I
name's
said
Darnell.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Marcus, forgive me, my brother.
You've been here for a while.
I've been here. I've been up since 4:45 yesterday morning. So anyway, good to have you come out. Walk down in the rain, it looked like, and everything, and come out in this bad weather. We appreciate it. And really, we did this 24 hours on a bench just to try to get some dialogue, to find some solutions to the problem that we have downtown. And as I was telling you just a little bit earlier, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your restaurant and all, and then I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, okay?
All right. Well, my name is Marcus Darnell. I am the owner and head chef at Chumley's Depot in downtown Melbourne. We are pretty much on the exact opposite side of downtown where we're sitting right now. We've been at this location for 12 years. But Chumley's proper opened in 1999 down on Babcock University. So we've been open for 25 years. So we've been a fixture in this town, and we've seen this town grow and evolve. So that's really my story, and it's what I do here. And I have the best chicken wings on the planet.
All right, man. All right. That's saying a lot. Chicken wings are very popular. That's saying a lot, man. But anyway, we were talking a little bit when you first came up, and we were talking about changes because we that are some of the providers for the homeless, folks here in our area, we hear that, downtown's gotten worse with the homeless population. We hear that it's gotten better from some people. Tell us what your experience has been in maybe the last few years.
So my experience is that it hasn't gotten better or worse. It has simply changed. It has evolved as the times have evolved. I see that a lot of the homeless problem, a lot of the homeless people fall into a few categories. You have the mentally ill, and we have failed them.
Yes, sure have.
You have people who have made bad decisions and can't get out of their spot, and they need some help. And then you have the people who continuously make bad decisions, and they seem to be beyond us.
Yes.
The problem is that it's very hard to distinguish between these groups of people when you see them.
Yeah, agree with you.
I will say this, I have seen probably less homeless people, and they cause less problems, but when they do cause a problem, it tends to be a bigger problem.
Major.
And that's what the people see, and when they see isolated incidents that cause a big problem, it is human nature to think that, well, if this is what I see, then the problem must be so much larger. How many things am I not seeing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's just generally not the case.
And you were sharing that, and you said, that some of the crime and stuff that's gone on, and I'm not talking about with the homeless, but it's not as bad as it used to be, but when it happens, it's something major, and it just gets blasted all over the place. I don't know whether social media has brought that on better or more. I don't know. But it just seems like it gets blown out, and it makes it sound like it's happening every day and everywhere around here.
It is true, but I think that's the nature of media today as it is. We have a tendency to sensationalize everything just because it gets more likes. It gets more exposure as long as it's big, and really it could just be something simple. And we've just made it into something much more than it is. And it draws attention, and people want attention no matter if it's positive or negative. And negative attention is so easy to get, and they just chase it, and I don't like it at all.
Are you a big Facebook person?
I have to be because I own a business. If it wasn't for that, I would not be on social media at all.
Ever.
I would go off the grid faster than anybody you've ever seen.
I hear you, man. I don't even like to text. So anyway, you're talking. I tell people, if you want me, call me. Don't text me because it might be 2 or 3 days before I look at it. But anyway, we're looking for some ideas. We're looking for maybe some solutions. And is there anything that you could give us that where we could better serve, or maybe that our elected officials, our city could get better involved? Or are there some things out there you could share with us that would help us take care of the situation we're having downtown?
Well, I think that we are going in the right direction. I'll tell you one of the things I didn't like is the fact that downtown took out all the benches. We're talking about benches just like this in downtown. They took out the benches so the homeless people wouldn't hang out on the benches. So what it's done is made the homeless people hang out on the front steps of your business because they don't care. They'll lay on the concrete. But all of the people who wanted to come to downtown and wanted to walk around don't have a place outside to sit anymore. So I've seen a decline in business, especially with the older community in downtown, because they can't walk. And what did that do? It created a parking crisis, because now if you can't drive and park exactly where you want to go, a lot of people say, nah, I'll just go to EGAD. There's parking up there, which there actually isn't. But that's been a lot of the problem. 10 years ago, you could walk from here to Chumley's, just like I did today, and be perfectly fine. And if you wanted to stop a couple of times, you could. Now you can't. But other than that, the things we have done well, I think the programs that we have in place now are working. Honestly, because I see less homeless people. I see less people who are absolutely derelict than I did before. These people seem to have a place, but just not a permanent place.
That's it.
If we could make a permanent place for them, and more than that, make them want to have a permanent place.
There's some out there, they don't want to get off. They're happy being homeless. I know that's hard to believe.
It's not hard to believe. I've met them.
Oh, you met them, so you know what I'm talking about there. And there's people out there, this day and time, money's so tight that we have good families that we see that, maybe losing a job for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I mean, it puts them out of their house very quickly.
We have a lot of society that's living paycheck to paycheck.
That's it.
And that is just the economic crisis in this country. You can't really do anything about that.
You can't.
But I do believe what you said, you hit the nail on the head. It is the desire. And I think that's mainly what we have down here now is people who don't have any ambition to not be homeless. The ones who we could help, we've probably helped.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people who were homeless years ago and they just gone away. Now, I don't know if they got a bus to Tallahassee or if they've found some help in this area, but they've gone away. There's
more programs that are helping, and we're missing areas. We really are. Spoke with a lady from Cav Church out in Vieira earlier this morning, and they had a 64-year-old lady that had mental health issues. And they finally found a place for her to go. She could hardly walk. Found a place for her to go over in Orlando, but she was scared to go over there. And so she ends up in a tent out at Wickham Park. They helped her. That's the only thing they could do for her.
But that's what you're comfortable with. You want to stay close to home. You want to get that help where you think you have your support system, and
there's
that's
always
what you
excuses.
Do. Right.
Always excuses. And so, it made me go back. We started Helen's House, our women and children's shelter, and we saw the need of women and children that were literally on the streets, and they didn't quite meet the criteria of some of the programs that we had here. We have great programs here, great people doing wonderful things for women and children, but there was that group that was falling through. And we thought that was going to be our main objective in helping those. And you know what we found out? There was a lot of single women that had no place to go. And so, here we are, we've got both single women, we got mothers with children, and we said we weren't going to take any babies. We weren't going to take any babies. And here we opened in August finally, of last year. And here my wife, one of our board of directors, they come in on Christmas Day. We do a feeding on Christmas Day, and they come in with a mother with a baby, I think a 3-month-old baby, and she has no place to go. So we started taking babies. And then we had a lady that came in Saturday. She's 3 months pregnant, with already one child.
But that's just it. Until you get yourself in the culture, until you get yourself out there in the community, you actually don't know what the need is.
That's it.
And that's why I'm so blessed to be in my position where I am at my restaurant, because I see it. I've been here for over a decade. I've seen the community and what it needs. And I try to speak out to our leaders and try to speak out to other people and tell them what the needs are. But until they get out here and they see it for themselves, it's very easy to be blind to it. It's very easy to adopt a method that is a generalized method that they think is going to help everybody, but everybody's different.
That's it. It's got to be a one-on-one situation. Got to figure out what the need is. Got to figure out where they're at. And one of the things you said a little earlier was talking about the mental health crisis that we have in our area. And back in the late 70s and the 80s, the federal government stopped supplying those dollars are for mental health hospitals, and mental health beds, and so we're down to just a few. And now that they're sending some of the mental health workers, the emergency workers out with the police department, we're seeing less Baker Acts. We're
Yes.
seeing less have to go into the emergency shelter type situation, being Baker acted or wherever it may be. And then, but a friend of mine with Circles of Care, he said to me, he said, "You only have 150 people, and I got one opening for for a permanent bed or for a long term."
Exactly. And that's, you speak to the larger issue and the fact that it's been going on for so long. Mental health is not a generalized field. It's a specific individual thing.
Exactly.
And until we're able to give these people the individual help that they need, we're not going to solve the crisis. You cannot treat one patient the same way you treat another patient, even if their mental affliction is the same.
That's it. And one of the things that I see and I believe in my heart is that we, the organizations like the providers around here, business people like you, local residents, that are in our community, we really have to start going after, and I don't mean attacking them, but we really have to start beating up on a little bit, starting in our local elected officials, our state elected officials, our federal. We have got to get some more mental health dollars coming in.
We definitely do. The problem, though, is that we've let the problem get so large that the elected officials don't know the scope of the problem. And when they don't know, and they see a dollar figure, and they're just like, oh, we can't do that. And they feel like they've lowballed it. So they're just like, well, we can't give X amount, so we definitely can't give X plus Y. So if we give X amount and don't solve the problem, then if we threw more money at it, we're definitely not going to solve the problem, which is a falsehood.
Yeah. And I'm sure that you've been involved in the council meetings as long as you've been in town.
I don't generally go until I really have to, because of reasons. There's a lot of people who say a lot of words and they don't mean a lot.
I grew up in a politician's house, so I understand what you're talking about. But if you had the opportunity to speak to our elected officials right now, what would you try to convey to them their need to be out there on the streets to see it firsthand, or what would you say?
No, absolutely. To our elected officials, I have to say, I see this in corporate America. I see this in America in general. The higher you get up, the further detached you get from society. And that is our problem. Because when you're not boots on the ground, when you don't see it firsthand, it's easy to emotionally detach yourself, and you get presented on paper with a general problem and you try to find a general solution. That is not how heroes are made. That is not what the society needs. The society needs leaders who are in the trenches with us. What happens when you don't do that is you aren't effective as leaders, and your troops don't respect you. Because if you're not down there, they can just say, well, I don't even know who this person is. I know the mayor's name, but I've never seen him. He's just a figurehead. They're not doing anything for us. But if you get out there and you actually interact with people, see what their needs are, and they feel heard, and you actually work for results, something's going to happen.
And I was in a meeting just several weeks ago with one of our council members that's trying to work on the homeless situation here. We had council member Marcus, Smith here with us last night, and both of these guys I believe they really have a desire to get in the trenches, and Marcus is doing that. I see him there. I see Dan doing it too, but it's going to take all of them.
The problem is I see that especially in our younger representatives and politicians, but somehow something happens to all of them when they get older, and I don't want to say they lose their soul, but they become bureaucrats. They become bureaucrats, and that is not what we need. If we had somebody who could keep that heart, who could keep that desire, that passion to help people, then I think it would be a whole lot better.
Well, we've got just about a minute left there, John. Just giving you the last chance to share some words and maybe a solution, throw a solution out there? Or
You're watching Conversations on a Bench, a 24 hours live stream raising awareness about homelessness. While sharing real conversations about homelessness, addiction, and mental health, we're also collecting tangible items to help those in need to support families at New Life Mission and residents at CITA Rescue Mission. Visit our bench in downtown Melbourne anytime, from October 9th at 3 p.m. to Friday 10th at 3 p.m. across from 407 East New Haven Avenue.
I don't mind going to Washington, D.C., but we got to start somewhere, and we need some others to join.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to bring them into Chumley's and get them some wings for lunch, I'll sit in on your conference.
Okay, man. Thank you, bud. All right, are we ready to go to the other feed?
All right, guys.
We'll see you in a little while.